I am midway through my 20s. I've been in the workforce for about 3 years now. And a common thing that I run into on a daily basis is people discounting me because they feel like I am too young to really know what I'm talking about. If you're in my position, I'm sure that you've experienced the same thing, which can sometimes lead to a little bit of frustration. However, I've been lucky enough to receive some really solid advice from some peers and those who have been in the industry longer than me, which in my opinion have helped me to reframe my mindset and do better in my day-to-day work. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow and I go by the Mengineer. I make videos on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. So in today's video, I figured I would give you my top 5 pieces of advice that I have received so far in my 20s. That might be someone that I just met randomly on the street or someone that I've worked with on my day-to-day job. But these are all pieces of advice that I feel like have been useful to me, so I hope that they are useful to you. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. One of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten from an old coworker is to smile and show your teeth. Now, what he meant by this was even on frustrating days or times where you're feeling extremely tired or upset, you need to make sure that you put on a good face. By maintaining a positive attitude, you're going to do multiple things. First off, if you're on a team, you're going to help make sure that you bring a positive attitude to the team, which in turn will raise the entire attitude as a team. As anyone who has been on a negative team knows, it is very easy to get sucked up into the negative mindset when you're surrounded by other people who are doing that. So if you try to counteract it with a positive mindset, you're going to help bring that positive attitude to your team, which in turn will help y'all to work together better, will help you to support one another more, and just in general make the work environment more enjoyable. Now, maintaining a positive attitude is going to be helpful not only while working on a team, but also when you're working with a higher up like a manager or with a client. By continuing to bring your best attitude to whatever work you are doing, your manager or client is going to view you as a person who continues to do solid and good work while dealing with challenging and frustrating circumstances. With that, they know that they're going to be able to lean on you if times get stressful or tough. Now, that's not to say that you should just take things lying down and get stressed out about stuff, but you still want to try and approach things with a positive attitude. If you're feeling frustrated, take some time to feel that frustration and then take some time to reset. But by smiling and showing your teeth, you're going to be showing that you have a good attitude and that you can take on any challenge no matter what is thrown at you. Now, I just said how you shouldn't just take things lying down, which is going to bring me to the next tip, and that's going to be that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Now, I've had plenty of people tell me this. I'm sure that I've read it on the internet somewhere, but I really do think that it is a solid bit of advice. So here's how I interpret that advice. You are going to be your own best advocate, and only you are going to be able to push for the things that you know need to be done. What this means is that even if you are young or even if you're new to an industry, you should be pushing back and asking questions. If someone is challenging you on the knowledge that you have, you should be asking them questions to make sure that they know what they're talking about. If you have things that you don't feel are necessarily correct, then you should be asking questions around those things. Additionally, if you're going to go into something like an annual review, you really need to be your own best advocate and push for the things that you know that you've been doing well. This includes asking for things like better benefits or raises. Now, this isn't going to be the case all the time, but generally speaking, the person who never speaks up and advocate for themselves won't really receive the same things that someone who asks for them does. This is because if you don't ask and you don't push for them, your management might just assume that you're okay with the situation that you're in. Now, I recognize that doing something like this might be a highly stressful thing for some people. So you can work on making it a little less stressful by taking it in bite-sized chunks and then working your way up to things that seem harder. Like I said, start small by maybe challenging someone on why they think something that they do or why they disagree with you, and then work your way up to eventually maybe having that conversation with management about a raise. If you see things that are going wrong, raise attention to them. For instance, when I was working in a paper mill, I saw a very severe violation of safety protocols. There was a contractor working up in the struts above me without any sort of safety gear on and using power tools. He very easily could have slipped and fallen and hurt himself. So I took the time to raise the alarm and I went and told the safety administrator. Now, if I hadn't done that, that person may have gotten away with it, but that person may have also fallen and gotten hurt. Their example is the example that shows other people what might be okay to do. So if I hadn't said anything, that culture could have persisted. In my opinion, the squeaky wheel gets the grease is one of the best pieces of advice that I can give to someone in their 20s, because there's so many things that raising your voice can impact. It can impact the culture, it can impact your own personal well-being, and it can also impact how people respect and talk to you. That is why I consider it one of the best pieces of advice that I can give to anyone else out there. Now, another one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten is from the same coworker who told me to smile and show your teeth. And that is going to be that you need to do well wherever your feet are planted. A big thing that we're running into nowadays, especially in my generation, is that we really want to feel fulfilled in our work. This leads to people pursuing all sorts of different paths and never really settling down on something that they actually find fulfillment in. Because a lot of times they need to pursue something that they feel fulfills them, but also still pays the bills. And a lot of times those things don't necessarily align, especially if you pursue them haphazardly. So what my coworker was saying when he was saying you need to do well wherever your feet are planted is that whatever your job may be, strive to do well at it. Strive to learn as much as you possibly can. I personally found this to be really helpful because it makes something that you might not have had much interest in a lot more interesting. For instance, at my current job, I was asked to help design an engineering station for training new engineers that were coming into the workforce. And this had to deal with pumps. Now, I wasn't exactly the most excited about this project, but I said that I was going to take it on to the best of my ability. And a surprising thing happened. The more that I dove into the individual different parts of pumps, the more that I realized, hey, wait a second, I learned this back in school. Why wasn't I grasping this concept before? And I started making all these different connections that I struggled with quite a bit in college. And as I started learning things and making these different connections, it became a lot more interesting to me. And I was really surprised and impressed with how much it excited me to be able to learn this new information. If you're going into work every day choosing to do the bare minimum, scroll on your phone and just mess around, then of course you're never really going to get better at your job, you're not going to learn too much, and you're going to find whatever it is that you're doing to be pretty boring. But if you actually try to put in some effort and you try to make the effort to learn things, you're going to be surprised at the stuff that you find along the way that you find interesting. And as you learn more stuff, you're going to find the type of things that get you most excited. And that's really going to be how you find the type of work that excites you most. For me, I've implemented this in my own work by striving to continuously try and learn new things. If I've been working on the same project for several months and I'm starting to get a little tired and bored of it, I start expressing to my management like, hey, I'm still doing a good job out here, but I am looking to learn more. I want to learn more about these different individual components. And by doing that, it keeps me excited about my job because I'm constantly getting to see new things. The next piece of advice that I am so happy someone else told me is that your family is always going to be there, but your job may not be. What that means is that your job is a job. It's honestly not guaranteed that you're going to have it forever. And honestly, your life circumstances may change at some point, which leads you to needing a new job. So when it comes down to it, if you're put in a situation where you need to choose your job versus your family, you should usually choose your family because your family is always going to be there for you. So once you get older, which are you going to regret? Spending time at your job or spending more time with your family? I'm glad that someone told me this advice when I was actually fairly young, and it's been at the forefront of my mind ever since. It makes it so I try to ensure that I have a good work-life balance in my life and that I don't ever work so much that I'm not getting to see my wife or my family. By ensuring that you take time in your personal life to do things that you enjoy, you're going to be recharging yourself, which will then allow you to tackle your work that much more effectively. And the final piece of advice I was given that might frustrate some people, but it took me some time to appreciate was be patient. Take the time to learn things appropriately. I have now had 2 different people tell me this. When I first got into the job workforce, I wanted to fast track myself to management as fast as possible. And in some respects, I still want to do that. However, I'm less gung-ho about it. And the reason why is because if you really push for this fast track, you might not give yourself the opportunity to really learn and cement the skills that you need before you're in that role already. I have now had 2 different coworkers who fast tracked themselves to management very quickly express how difficult it was for them when they first started. There were a lot of things that they struggled with and that they had to work through when they first started, that if they had just taken a little bit more time on the front end to not go into management and learn those skills and take those trainings, they would have had that knowledge and been prepared to implement it once they had gotten into the management position. This goes for more than just management positions. Be careful about pushing for roles that have responsibilities that are way outside of your knowledge scope because you might be setting yourself up to fail. Take some time to learn the skills before pushing too hard into those roles. This is going to help set you up for success in the future and make it a much smoother transition once you do transition into your new future roles. But with that being said, y'all, that's going to bring us to the end of this video. If you found the information in this video to be helpful or informative at all, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you have any of your own thoughts, ideas, or opinions, please be sure to leave a comment down below. I like to read and respond to all of them. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about career-related topics, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about how to get a promotion the right way. If you're interested in more of my most recent videos, be sure to check out this one right here. But until the next time, this is the Mengineer, signing off.